You build a ladder, climb across the wall, the job is done.
Why build the ladder if you never experienced the trampoline?
Use the Hijab 10 discount code for 10% discount on a wide range of products, including premium Ethiopian black seed products.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you guys doing? You might recall that some time ago I did a review on some of the conversations that were taking place on Logan Paul's podcast. And in the podcast, he was talking about God and purpose of life and the creator and the higher power and some really important and powerful points that Logan Paul made. And in that discussion, I kind of extrapolated some of his points and compared them with the Islamic positions. To my surprise, I found that there was lots more similarities than I would have expected. What's interesting now is that he has had a person called Sadhguru, who's probably the most famous and popular Hindu guru on the internet. He's had him on the podcast, and there was an interesting discussion that they had, whereby really Sadhguru was talking about some epistemological points, talking about what constitutes the self. There were a panel of individuals that were asking him questions, and then he would answer in his kind of pseudo-philosophical way and try and propose something, but something which is not too dogmatic. Clearly he was trying to avoid dogma, and clearly he was trying to avoid the kind of normal discourses that you would find maybe in an Abrahamic tradition. Something which was conspicuously absent from that discussion, though, quite frankly, was anything solid at all.
So I'm at the Walmart counter and they ask me for $62 and I say, but I have found out the fundamental principles of life and I have a life force that exists in between my hands when I rub them together. What I'm getting at is how do you enthrall and ignite the masses to take part in this conversation about what life means?
You build a ladder, climb across the wall, the job is done.
What if I told you that acid made there be no wall? What if I told you that acid knocked that wall down into a pile of rubble that you never had to climb a ladder over ever again?
That's not true.
My question is why build the ladder if you never experienced the trampoline?
See, the thing is, that's what I said. You would make it happen here.
Getting high off life.
Huh?
Getting high off life.
Look, I understand. I'm just saying, I'm also a fellow curious person, and I had the thought process that I cannot die on this planet not knowing what a psychedelic does to my brain. I've refused. That's something I wanted to try.
With all due respect, I mean, this person's my senior in knowledge and age and experience, Sadhguru. But I have to say that having left kind of from that, I don't think anyone would take anything solid away from this discussion. And I think this is the pivotal point of difference between the Abrahamic experience, if you want to call it, the Islamic experience, and the rest of these kinds of ideologies or religions which don't have or have a plethora of ways of being interpreted. The point is, Islam proposes a way to prove itself to people. Islam has solid arguments which demonstrably show that it is a religion from God. Islam is about one higher power, the creator God, creating all the worlds. And I want to share with you one or two verses from the Quran which kind of spring to mind here, which I find really beautiful, but also touch the practical and applicable elements of the religion of Islam. The Quran has a very kind of beautiful way of summarizing something. It says in chapter 28, verse 49-50, it says, قُلْ فَأْتُوا بِكِتَابٍ مِّنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ هُوَ أَهْدَى مِنْهُمَا أَتَّبِعْهُ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Say, bring forth a book which is more in guidance than the Quran and the Torah. I will follow it if you are truthful. فَإِن لَمْ يَسْتَجِيبُوا فَاعْلَمْ أَنَّمَا يَتَّبِعُونَ أَهْوَاءَهُمْ. And if they don't reply to this, then realize that they are just following their desires. وَمَنْ أَضَلُّ مِمَّنِ اتَّبَعَ هَوَاهُ بِغَيْرِ هُدًى مِّنَ اللَّهِ. And who is more led astray? Listen to this very carefully, it's very important. Who is more led astray than the one who follows his desires in opposition to following the guidance from Allah, from God, the Creator God? And this I want you to think about. The Quran is a book of guidance. It's not just a book of guidance in abstraction, in theory, but it's a practical book of guidance. Islam offers guidance from the belief system and also from the applicable, what you call jurisprudential system as well. So you'll find that there is nothing left out in terms of how to live your life. God didn't just create us aimless or purposeless. أَفَيَحْسَبُ الْإِنسَانُ أَن يُتْرَكَ سُدًى? Does the human being really think that he'd be left created aimless? No. The Islamic position is that God created the human being. And when God created the human being, He endowed him with purpose, a teleos, and He gave him guidance through the intermediaries of messengers and prophets, which come and take the form of, through the intermediaries of messengers, which took the form of prophets that came aforetime. And there was a series of books, a series of religious traditions that were sent down aforetime. And these dispensations, these previous dispensations, were intended to act like a manual, if you like, a guidebook for humanity. And the final one is the Quran, which, as I've said in the beginning, is something which claims to be from God. And I believe we have solid evidence that it is from God. Which is why I believe a podcast with Logan Paul, which at one point I believe he was interested in having, would be the greatest opportunity to really explore why we believe as Muslims that Islam not only is true, but is totally practical for your life and gives you all solutions for everything you need in your life. This is something which I believe is exclusive and unique to the Islamic tradition. And this is something I believe which anybody who embraces and takes on will have a transformative effect on their life. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.